What up, guys? James from Bolt Bros here to talk about which rookies have the most pressure on them to perform immediately year one for 2025. Rookies report July 12th, only 4 days away, guys. But let's go into these three players that I wanted to point out that have the most pressure to perform immediately for 2025. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Bolt Bros, let's go. Bolt Bros. All right, guys. Appreciate all the love and support. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel if you've not. We appreciate all the love and support you provide for us. And also in the comments below, is my list of 2025 rookies make sense that have the most pressure going into 2025? Now, I'm just going to say this as a total statement about the Chargers. There's not a huge amount of needs on this team right now. I feel like we're very well filled out as a team. But what I'm basically saying is that there are a couple rookies that we did draft that need to perform immediately to help this team elevate to the next level. And, you know, to every player that gets drafted, obviously there's a need they are filling. But at the same side, some of those rookies are needed earlier than later. So that's kind of my idea about this too. Couple rookies that I'm just going to point out that I think make sense. And I'm going to put in order of what I think is the most pressure on our drafted players to, you know, I'm only got three players that I'm going to focus on, but three different players that are basically going from first, second, and third most pressure that they need to perform this year in 2025. So I like this list. I think it makes sense in a lot of different ways. I'll point out a few different things and reasons why they need to perform. So I'm going to start with my guy right from the get-go. This one might seem a little bit controversial in a weird way, but I think it makes a lot of sense based upon what I noticed later in the season. Now, he's also got some shoes to fill too, right? So I'm going to start out with Jamari Caldwell. And, you know, once again, he was a third-round pick for us. He was a guy that you would look at and say, okay, hey, look, he's not the guy that, based upon what he did in Oregon, he's not that pass rusher type guy. He's not that dude that does that. No, what he does is fills gaps to allow linebackers or edge rushers to basically do their job, find ways to create more penetration. He's basically a gap filler kind of guy, a guy that basically could do that. Now, I'm not going to say he does not have the ability to rush the passer, which he did a lot of that at Houston when he was there. He has that ability, but really, I think the way that he is going to be utilized is be a gap filler, a guy that demands two players on him to defend him. He's a guy that is going to be able to make sure our linebackers could get in there, our edge rushers could get in there, be a run stopper for us, bottom line. How many times do I hear every single year we don't have that guy that's a Jamal Williams kind of guy, a big body kind of guy? And to be honest, you look at Jamari Caldwell, guy 6'2", 340, just straight butt and gut out there. We're going to have a guy that's going to be on a first down, second down type situation, short yardage situation, a guy that can fill those gaps, be that run stopper for us too. Also allow the edge rushers, linebackers to create pressure all around. This is a great, great addition to this team and a very overdue addition to this team. Now, why I put a little bit of pressure on Jamari Caldwell is because, you know, Poona Ford played pretty good last year. He definitely did a good job for us last year, and he since moved on to the other Los Angeles team. He's going to have to fill that gap, making sure that he's going to be that guy to be able to create a more passing-based situation, which I think is a very big strength with our defensive backs, to force them to not be able to get big runs on us at all. Why I'm saying that too? Well, if you start looking a little bit about what happened when we allowed teams to rush on us, and this is over 130 yards per game, we were 1-4 last season on that too. We lost to the Cardinals. We lost to the Baltimore Ravens, 212 yards on us on that one too. We lost to the Buccaneers, who just absolutely destroyed us. We lost also to the Houston Texans in the playoffs game, 168 yards on us. Only game that we did win where we did give up 132 yards was the Tennessee Titans. So bottom line, what it is that pressure on Jamari Caldwell is to make sure they don't get these big rips of yards. Find ways to decrease the amount of yards per carry. I felt like we were getting torched quite a bit on that point. So I feel like Jamari Caldwell is going to be that guy to really come up and step up for this team to make sure that those short yardage, first down, second down type run plays do not become 4-yard, 5-yard type rips. Decrease them down about 2.5 to 3-yard type situation. We're about 14th in the league versus the run last year, about 121 yards if my memory serves me correctly. We need to basically decrease that. And I think that Jamari Caldwell will do an excellent job with that too. So I will basically say Jamari Caldwell is my number one guy with the most pressure on him this year to perform immediately in 2025. So I like to see what he can bring to this team. Now, once again, to my point, this is directly from the Chargers website, directly from PFF. Jamari Caldwell finishes with at least an 81.6 PFF run defense grade in each of these 3 seasons, with Houston, Oregon with the best of 83.2 in 2022. We need that same metric next year. We absolutely have got to see that same thing with Jamari Caldwell for the 2025 season. Now, Poona Ford, I think he did good. I think later on in the season, he started to become a little bit, maybe it was tired, maybe or whatever it might be. Just in contrast, Poona Ford was an 85.1 overall grade, 5th interior defensive lineman in the league with a pass rushing grade of 71.1, but a run defense of 78.8, 6th best in the league. If we could just get Jamari Caldwell up to that 82, 83% that he basically was averaging at, this guy will be an absolute menace for us. I mean, 18 run stops too, basically the 3rd best against the run, and the run stops 18 in Oregon last season. He was basically a guy that has the ability to get a lot of, plug in those holes, making sure it's harder for them to run on us. I think it's going to be a big, big thing I'm going to look at a lot with Jamari Caldwell. So Jamari, I feel like it's going to be the guy that could really step up for this run game, make sure that we get under about 100. I'm hoping about 110 to 105 yards on the ground that we'll be giving up on average this season. Just a nice little uptick against the run and force them to throw a little bit on us, because I think we got a really good defensive backfield, guys. So anyways, Jamari, excited about you for 2025 and looking for a big year for you. So moving on. Our guy, obviously, I think this would have been number one for a lot of people, because obviously a lot of people love to be able to see your offensive players just extremely blow up, do phenomenal things. But Omarion Hampton, I'm putting the 2nd most pressure to perform this season. And, once again, 1st-round picks, they have to perform. I mean, that's bottom line. You cannot have them sitting in the back, just kind of waiting in the wings. Yes, we got Najee Harris, who is a guy who's got multiple 1,000-yard seasons on the ground. But I feel like, once again, you got that thunder and that lightning type guy again, just like what we had with Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. I'm putting basically Najee as the Gus Edwards, get those tough yards, to Omarion Hampton being that lightning that J.K. Dobbins was. And to be honest, there's a lot to really like about Omarion Hampton. Now, I'm hoping to be able to see a 1,000-yard running back this year. If it's going to be Najee or Omarion Hampton, I think Omarion Hampton has a better chance to basically get to 1,000 yards and quickly with this team too. The O-line is significantly better in my opinion. I mean, just adding that Mekhi Becton to the right guard position is going to be a huge increase. It's funny, when I looked a lot last year, I felt like we always ran the ball a lot more on the right side. And then I started looking at a lot more games earlier in the year, and we started running the ball a lot more on the left. Didn't do bad at all, but I think we're going to be a lot more balanced as an O-line now, where we're going to be able to run on the right and the left. Also, Joe Alt, I think, is going to have a huge upgrade in his run game too. So I'm excited to be able to see what Omarion Hampton can do, and I think he's going to do some great things this season. I think he has a very good chance to basically get over 1,000 yards this season. Now, how cool would it be if we got Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton that basically get over 1,000 yards, 2 1,000-yard backs? We have not had a 1,000-yard back since 2018 with Melvin Gordon, guys. So it's about time right now. And one thing that was interesting, and I just threw out AI stats about trying to figure out what is the expectations for Omarion Hampton. It seems like there's a whole heck of a lot of pressure on him right now. And according to AI, he's supposed to do 1,300 yards this season. So he'll be one of the top 10 running backs in the league with that kind of stats. Now, his stats are pretty ridiculous at college. You got to expect he did well over 1,600 yards on the ground last season. He has the opportunity to basically do something very similar to that this year. Now, once again, it's going to be a split kind of committee type situation between Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton. I think Omarion Hampton has the ability to basically make big plays all around with this team. So excited to be able to see what Omarion Hampton can do. I did also want to throw out one other stat here, why I feel like he will be the lightning to this offense. Just looking at since 2023 from North Carolina, Omarion Hampton had a 92.3 PFF grade, 6th in the league, college football, that is, 3,160 yards, 2nd in college football, 2,294 yards after contact. That is absolutely massive. Not an easy guy to put down on the ground by any means. He was 2nd best in the league, 79 explosive runs, 3rd in the league, 140 missed tackles for, 6th in the league. This guy is going to be perfect fit to what Harbaugh wants. Physical. A guy that cannot be put on the ground very easily. A guy that's an extra effort kind of guy. This guy has the ability to make big plays on top of that. So very excited to be able to see Omarion Hampton this season. Love to be able to see a 1,000-yard back. We've got 2 guys that have full capabilities to it. And Omarion Hampton is definitely my guy for that I'm putting the second most pressure on. So what's your thoughts? Comments in below. Moving on. Next player here. I think it kind of goes without saying, and I think a lot of people kind of know this too. But once again, go to Trey Harris. I put him at the 3rd place because there's a thing about the wide receiver group that I could understand where you're saying, hey, James, you're kind of nuts not thinking, you put him at one of the higher levels, because obviously we didn't have the best of wide receiver core last year. Guys showing up and then some guys not showing up when it's necessary. Yes, I get it. You get a guy in 2nd round. Maybe you're getting the second coming of Ladd McConkey. A guy could pair with him for years and years and years with Trey Harris and Ladd. But at the same side, there's guys already in the room that can fill some gaps right now. And I think they're going to have better years. Okay, as an idea, Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston is a guy that basically, he had a very good year. It's just easy as for fans to basically go out there and say, hey, look, we remember all the faults that you did. The drop passes, not showing up in the playoffs, all these other little things out there too. I firmly believe Quentin Johnston's going to have a very good year. This is a very make it, break it type year for Quentin Johnston with the long-term plans with the Chargers. Now, I'll also even add out there too, Mike Williams. Maybe even Mike Williams will end up being that guy that could basically step up and be that good wide receiver too. I think he's going to teach Trey Harris a lot on being a better wide receiver. Now, once again, Trey Harris had a phenomenal college season, and I'll go through some of those stats that he had last year in a very limited amount of games last year. But I just don't think that there's that immediate pressure that he needs to perform immediately. Now, once again, Ladd McConkey took some weeks to basically really break out. I think it was week 6. And then after that, he just kind of just went bonkers and just had a phenomenal rookie season. And that could be something that's going to happen with Trey Harris. I mean, even in the offseason training camp, they talked about that he's not fully in shape right now, that Trey Harris does need to get a little bit better shape, which once again, maybe that's kind of what they did with Ladd McConkey, held him back a little bit, make sure he gets his body in order and everything too, and then unleash him a couple weeks into the season kind of thing. So, but I do feel like we have a good enough wide receiver core right now, just with Mike Williams, Quentin Johnston, and Ladd McConkey. I think it's just going to be about a blending of all these type of players when they feel they are ready to go all around. Now, I will say, I think Trey Harris is going to be a phenomenal weapon for us. This guy absolutely lit it up last year at Ole Miss with Jackson Dart. Now he's got a very solid quarterback here with Justin Herbert. He's got an opportunity to basically be another weapon next to Ladd McConkey for the long term. This guy has all the tools and tangibles to be that good X receiver for us too. Absolute menace in college football last season. Just got to translate that into NFL, which I firmly believe he will. Now, I'm going to show you some stats of what he did in college. I'm going to focus on, let's just start in 2022 at Louisiana Tech. 12 games, 65 catches, 935 yards, 10 touchdowns. average catch per reception, 14.4 yards. The guy basically was getting big plays with every single catch. Ole Miss in 2023, 12 games, 54 catches, 985 yards. The guy is consistently last 3 years basically getting almost to about that 1,000-yard type situation. But the yards per reception is great, 18.2, 8 touchdowns. Now, 2024 was a shortened season with him. He only played 8 games, 1,030 yards on 60 catches, 17.2 yards per reception, 7 touchdowns. This guy easily could have been one of the highest, rated wide receivers going into this draft. It just basically became an injury situation with him. And that's where I think the coaches are talking a lot about, hey, look, he did have kind of some, injuries. Maybe they're just trying to get his body right, making sure he's all good. That's where the Ben Herbert effect comes involved with this team. And I think that he has the ability to potentially be a second coming of Ladd McConkey going into the season. Ladd McConkey's even last year in college football at Georgia, he did have a shortened season, but still came out next season and just absolutely lit it up with Justin Herbert. So the big thing that I'm going to put pressure on Trey Harris is show up when it's necessary. That's the whole thing that I think that is the missing piece with his passing offense. Find those players when they need to show up at the most critical time. And I think Ladd McConkey definitely showed us that. In the Houston game. But nobody else did. And that's the big thing. I think that's where Trey Harris needs to show out and make his mark and stamp on this team. He needs to show up when it's necessary to show up. Now, I'm not saying you don't show up on any other time, but bottom line, I'm just saying we need to have a wide receiver too who can show up, because Ladd McConkey was getting triple teamed basically through the Texans game. Not working out so well for us. I mean, he obviously had one of the best games for a rookie wide receiver ever in the playoffs. But bottom line, that's where I'm going to put the pressure on Trey Harris. When he does get out there, show up when he needs to show up, kind of thing. Also, I'm putting him as a third position because I don't think that it's a complete necessity that needs to show up immediately this year, but he does need to find a way to show that he can be that guy and that guy to be relied on. So once again, that's who I think my top 3 guys are. Now, obviously, you kind of say, hey, those are some of your top picks. It's a little bit of a layup there, guys, to basically throw those players out there. But I'm giving you examples of reasons why I put them at 1, 2, and 3 for those 3 players. But I would like to be able to hear from you in the comments below. What's your thoughts? Did I miss the mark? Is my 1, 2, and 3 players the correct order for them? Or is there a player I missed too? Love to be able to hear from you in the comments below. And once again, like this video, subscribe to this channel if you've not. We appreciate all the love and support, guys. And we're almost in the football season, guys. 2025 season is among us, so can't wait for the season to get rolling. So once again, guys, appreciate all the love and support. Once again, James from Bolt Bros. Let's go.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching Bolt Bros podcast.